Hey guys, welcome to Mara's Junk Drawer. I'm Mara, and today I'm going to be sharing my favorite Black historical movies slash books, because some of these movies have books, or the movie was an adaptation of the book. So let's get into it. Disclaimer: before I move forward, there are so many other great gems currently out there, but the top five that I'm sharing are the ones that I used to watch like over and over and over in elementary. When some of these were released, I was probably not even thought of or in diapers. So these are like my top five, like I said, that I used to watch faithfully over and over and over in elementary school, or like between elementary and middle school as a youngin', okay? And most of them I didn't read the book until I was like in junior high school. I'm going to use my phone as reference. If you guys see me, looking down, I'm out of breath because I was just like running around like trying to hurry up. Y'all know how it is when you're trying to film a video to get set up and whoop whoop, okay? Okay, these are in no particular order. Like, these are just my top five faves. But two of them I'm going to put as number 1 and 2 because these are like literally my top 3 of like all time, like especially the books. But being that these are the top 2, they are in no particular order. Well, actually they kind of, okay, let's just get into it, okay? Because I'm talking too much. Are we recording? Yeah. Okay. So the first one, we're going to go with The Color Purple, which the movie was released in 1985. Baby, when I tell you, like, my mom had to buy me the DVD because I would watch this so much. And once I got that DVD, I best believe I was watching it and then flipping it to side B, like, faithfully. Because if you know, like, the Color Purple DVD, you had to flip it to watch because it was so long. Color Purple is literally my favorite movie, and as far as book, it would have to be number 2 of my favorite book, because the second movie is going to be my favorite number 1 book. Okay, but anyway, so number 1 we have The Color Purple, which is an adaptation from the book by the great Miss Alice Walker. I have it right here, Color Purple, and I also had to get this copy as well. So yeah, The Color Purple, number 1 favorite movie of all time. When I tell you I watched this movie, I can't even tell you how many times I watched this movie. That's how many times I watched the movie when I was younger. Like, oh my gosh, I used to be locked into that movie. Loved it. And then when I read the book, I was in love even more, because the book, it just goes into so much more detail. I would recommend you, if you have not read The Color Purple book, you need to read the book, because there's so many other layers that I think is so important for you to digest versus watching the movie. Because in the movie, it's like, it's so much negativity, even though like it was very positive at the end, but there's other layers that I feel like should have been kind of mentioned in the book, specifically centered around like Mr. and Cilly's relationship, as well as her and Suge's relationship. Like, it goes so much deeper than what the movie portrays, and some people are just so turned off by the movie because of the abuse from Mr. But I feel like if you read the book, that's going to change your perspective. I mean, Mr. was a piece of shit, but like there's a lot of like forgiveness and like redemption in the book that I feel like is important. So pretty much The Color Purple follows, I mean, most of y'all probably know this, follows Cilly and her sister, but mainly Cilly, and the book is in letter format, so it's like diary and letter format. So she's writing in her diary, she has like different diary entries, and then it turns over to letter format when she finds the letter of the sister that she was disconnected from because of Mr. So she starts writing to her sister. So it goes from like her diary entries to the letters to her sister back to diary entries. I don't want to say too much, but so it pretty much follows Celie. Her father sold her to Mr., which this nasty man, and it just navigates pretty much her journey in the South with this nasty man. And yeah, I feel like I feel like you should watch the movie and read the book. I think both is like very vital. And there, The Color Purple, the book is also a three-part series. So The Color Purple is the first book. The second one is A Temple. Let me see. Yeah, The Temple of My Familiar, which is on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's on there. And then the third book is Possessing the Secret Joy, which is also on why can I not talk? Which is also on Kindle Unlimited as well. So yeah, The Color Purple is a three-part book series. I feel like a lot of people, they may know that, but I feel like nobody talks about that. But anyways, next, number 2 would have to be Malcolm X, which the one that was released in 1992 with Denzel playing Malcolm. So the book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, is literally my favorite book. Like, that is number 1, hands down, my favorite book. I don't even know where it is. Oh, here it is. I had to buy this copy because my other copy was like ran down from me reading it so much. Like, I can't even explain the greatness that exudes from this book. Like, the way this book just makes you feel like you can literally, it feels like you're sitting like right next to him and he's sharing, like, the energy in this book is so real. So of course I don't need to do a synopsis of that book. It's an autobiography, okay? But the movie Malcolm X with Denzel, I used to watch that over and over and over. Like, I was hip to the movie before the book, and then once I was like old enough and started going to the library myself and stuff, then that's when I read the book, and I'm just like, wow, this is like, I remember that book changed my life. So, like, that was a very transformative year for me when I read that book. Like, that book did something to me. I can't even explain what it did to me. But I think after reading that book, I did Ramadan that year as well. And yeah, it was just a very transformative year for me, all thanks to that book. Okay, so now that we discussed the movie The Color Purple and the movie Malcolm X, moving on, these are in like no particular order of like my faves. Next we're going to talk about Rosewood, which was the movie. Rosewood, the movie, which was released in 1997. And this follows the 1923 Rosewood, Florida massacre. So like a quick summary of the massacre. It was on January 5th, 1923. A mob of over 200 white men attacked the black community in Rosewood, Florida, killing over 30 black women, men, and children, burning the town to the ground, and forcing all survivors to permanently flee Rosewood. And then there is a thing on here that said that they got let me see, 1923. I can't believe how young I was watching this. I vividly remember every time sitting down watching this movie, like, my eyes will be glued to the TV. Glued to the TV. I absolutely love this movie, even though the content is very, I mean I feel like that's a lot for a kid to watch. Like, there's no way my kids would sit down and watch any of these movies like I did, especially my oldest. Like, when we did watch The Color Purple together, and she, like, her soul, like her spirit just cannot handle like her emotions. But I'm trying to find the article. They end up getting money. Let me see, is this it? Yeah, they end up getting money for I can't find the article. But if you guys look it up, but there's like a specific article where it went into detail about them getting compensation. Yeah, let's see. Where we at? 11 minutes. Yeah, so there was a bill passed by Florida in 1994, which the survivors were compensated um, for that act. And what is the guy's name from Holiday Heart? The big buff guy who played also in, he was in Baby Boy, and he also played in Holiday Heart. Why can't I think of his name? Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about, but he's in there. And yeah. He plays the character Man in Rosewood. So yeah, Rosewood was another favorite of mine that I watched over and over. There is, I don't know, there are a couple books. This is one that I have not read any books, but there are, I think, like two or three books on like that goes into further detail, like nonfiction books regarding the 1923 Rosewood, Florida massacre. So, yeah. Next, the next movie we have is Miss Everboys, which was released in 1997. This is about the Tuskegee experiment. So pretty much, and there's a book, the book that's out. I'm not sure when the book was published, but the book is called Bad Blood by James H. Jones, and I'll try to put it on the screen if I can remember. But Miss Everboys is the main character. So there's a black nurse who was hired. Let me just share what the synopsis is. So when nurse Eunice Evers is chosen to facilitate a program intended to curb syphilis rates among African Americans in rural Alabama, she is gratified to be able to serve her community. Over time, however, the study becomes twisted into a shocking human experiment in which patients are systematically denied much needed medicine. Decades after the fact, Evers is called before a Senate committee to testify as to what really happened during the infamous Tuskegee study. So pretty much they infected all of these. So that was the fiction movie based off the real Tuskegee experiment. So the actual, like a summary of the actual Tuskegee syphilis study. The Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male was a study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention on a group of nearly 400 African American men with syphilis. So the movie is based off the actual Tuskegee experiment. And baby, I used to watch that movie every time it came on too, because I just could not, like, it used to scare me. Like, I think as a child, I don't even know why I was drawn to these movies so much as a child. I think I just been locked in, or maybe in my past life I was just out in the fields with my ancestors. Actually, I don't even know. But being as young as I was like between the age of 5 and 10 when I was watching these movies. I can't believe like I had the stomach, but I think I was just because I hated history class. I went to a predominantly white school, and so it's not like I was taught black history. Even like in my personal life, people weren't like screaming black power or like giving me enlightenment based around stuff like this. So it's just like something I picked up myself, but I don't know why at such a young age I was so intrigued by these movies. And but I think with Miss Everboys, which was centered around the Tuskegee experiment, I think I was just in shock that they could get away with that. Like I I was shooketh as a child, because, you know, being that young, I didn't really understand, like, you know, what was like actually going on, because, you know, there was so much that I was not able to process being that young. But it was just like it's like in my soul, I knew something was not right, but I couldn't, like, you know, articulate it for what it really was, you know, being that young watching it. But I just remember as a child being just so shooketh that these men thought they were getting, like, I can't remember in the movie what they portrayed. Like, it was like almost like they were getting like shots to build their immune system, but the whole time they were being injected with syphilis to see how syphilis would take place in the black male body. Like, they were literally treating them like they were freaking lab rats. And as a child, I was just so shook. If, like, one thing though, every time I would watch movies like that, I would go to school and be so angry, because, like I said, I went to a predominantly white school. And as a child, like I said, there was just so many things that I was not able to, like, really articulate. But it would just make me angry. I would go to school and just be so angry because, you know, what I was seeing. And it's just like, how could y'all do that? Anyways, so far we discussed The Color Purple. We discussed Malcolm X, Rosewood, Miss Everage Boys, and last but not least, yeah, this is last, but baby, okay, another fire, Beloved by Miss Toni Morrison. So do I have that book? Yeah, I do. Where is it? Baby, when I say I used to run this movie back, I used to run it back to back. Like, I love this movie. And so Beloved is based off a true story. In the movie is an adaptation of this book by Miss Toni Morrison. And let me just give you like a quick synopsis, which most of you probably already know, but I just wanted to share my top 5 black historical like fiction. Some of these are fiction movies. There's one of them is nonfiction. Well, they're fiction based off, okay, I'm talking too much. So the book is about the true story of Margaret Garner. Let me see if I can, there was a newspaper clipping too. That's crazy, they still have the newspaper clipping. But let me see, Margaret Garner. Okay, so Margaret Garner, she was a runaway slave, and they call her Peggy. She was enslaved African American woman who killed her own daughter and intended to kill her other 3 children and herself rather than be forced back into slavery. So one day, like based off in the movie and the book, they were chilling, and when she escaped, there were these what are they called? Like back then, what were they called? Let me see, does it say it on here? Okay, so I feel like they were coming to get her. Basically, the police was coming to get her, and she was like, "You're not about to put me back in slavery, so we're not gonna be here anymore. You're not gonna put us back in slavery." And they have a nice little, you know, if you want to go do a history lesson on Margaret Garner, which Beloved is based around that story. Very interesting, like, but pretty much, so the child that she ended up killing comes back to haunt her, and she was so freaky. I think as a child I liked to watch it because it was just so freaky. It was very very spooky vibes, like very thriller. So I feel like if you're a person that's like into thriller stuff, like that creepy, eerie type stuff, this is for you, because the daughter that she killed comes back to haunt her. Sounds crazy, right? But loved it. I don't know why. It's just, it's in my blood. It's in my DNA, I guess. But yeah, so those are the 5 Black historical fiction movies that I love, top 5. And like I said, there are so many other gems out there now, like movie adaptations based off like Black history, but these are the 5 that were released when I was younger that I would literally watch over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I just wanted to share my top 5, being that I am a Black historical fiction genre lover. I had to share my favorite top 5 movies slash books, for even for people who don't really care to read the book but they want to check out the movie. My top 5. So The Color Purple, Malcolm X, Rosewood, Beloved, Miss Evers Boys, Go Lock In. Great movies. But if you made it this far into the video, I do thank you so much for watching. And down in the comment below, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite historical fiction movie is, so I can check it out. And be sure to subscribe, like it with your girl, so we can get it cracking, okay? And like I said, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next